to players in the FGC for now. I don't know. If I get some more clout, I'll reach out. Who knows?
We're expanding.
Yeah. But we are here with a guy that doesn't need any introduction if you've been around any team-based games. Actually, to be fair, I wouldn't even say team-based games. If you just have an inkling to watch fighting game stuff, you probably run into this guy. Do you want to introduce yourself, my dude?
Yeah, what's up, guys? Jonathan Morales here, aka Cloud805. How y'all doing?
I'm doing good because finally I get to talk to you on my end. I've always been in your stream and I get summoned, hit me with a jitsu, and I have to come in and defend my hot takes. But now I'm going to get your hot takes. If there's any. There might not be. We might just fully agree.
Oh, who knows? The rare.
It's shiny Charizard rare. I don't know if that's going to happen. Right. But yeah, I think when it comes to competitors that have turned to content creators, you're one of the first people that pop into mind. It might be because I'm a little bit biased. I watched a lot of Marvel before I kind of get involved in fighting games properly, I'd say, in terms of like commentating and playing. So I don't know, for the people that do live under that, you know, rock, what's kind of your origin story into competing? Then we'll talk about content.
You know, my origin story is actually pretty basic, right? Because there's, you know, going back when I first, you know, figured out about Evo, was like, I went to a card shop, right? My buddies played card games back in 2011, 2012. You know, they were watching Evo, and I was like, oh, what is that? They're like, oh, it's Evo, it's a tournament. I was like, no shit. You know, I've been playing fighting games forever since I was a little wee lad, right? Street Fighter 2, just like everybody else.
Yep.
So I was like, oh, okay, cool. You know, I was playing Marvel and all that. And then there's WNF 2 hours away. Again, I live in the middle. Can we curse?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, yeah, I live in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, right? Like, desolate wasteland, dude. Nobody here plays anything, right? Hardly anybody games in my area. The closest thing is like 2 hours away. You know, this little 17-year-old me, dude, no car, can't drive, right? Can't make it out to LA, you know, Azusa, where all the locals are held. You know, except my homie drove me there one time, right? So I went to one WNF, got 4th or 5th. I lost to Nerd Josh and Losers, and I was like, this is dope. So I was like, all right, cool. Started saving my money for Evo 2013. Parents were like, no. And I was like, no, I'm going to go anyway. So, yeah, especially my sister, too. She was another parental figure. God, man. Anyway, that's a different story. But yeah, so, like, I went, you know, with my buddies that I met online. My sister the entire time was like, you don't know these people. They could kidnap you. I was like, why are they? I'm like, what do I have to offer? Like, we play games. Met up 2013 Evo. And just to go on a little tangent, right?
Yeah, go for it.
So, you know, like F-Champ was the hottest shit in Marvel at the time.
Yeah.
Previous Evo winner. So me and my buddies had an objective. We're like, we're going to go to Evo and we're going to beat F-Champ. That was it. We did it. I did it. I beat him that year. I sent him home from Losers. And we're like, damn. And part of that one objective was to pat him on the back and tell him he did good. If you go back and look at the VOD of after I beat him, I'm just like, you did good, champ. You did good.
No shot. You actually did that? Did you tell him why? Did you tell him why?
No, he still doesn't know. So that's like the big origin story, right? Of just like going into competitive gaming, the one single mission. And from there, I was like, okay, cool. You know, this is dope. I like beating other people in fighting games. I like asserting my will and dominance. And from there, you know, the rest is kind of just history. Just kept playing Marvel, kept doing well.
So was it kind of like you started playing the games because they were fun and then you realized you was good and you kind of wanted to test how good you were? Or was it that you knew you was good enough to show everyone that, you know, you belong there sort of thing?
I didn't know what to expect, especially considering that before Evo, right, I went to a TRB when it switched over to the run back and I went 0-2, but I didn't know about monitor delay. So I had a 32-inch plasma TV with terrible input delay and then going to, you know, Asus or whatever monitor they had at the time, but no delay. I was like, why the hell am I dropping everything? I'm like, do I just suck? Am I nervous? No, I figured out about frame delay and everything after that. I was like, oh.
Snap.
So,
yeah.
It was an issue of like, damn, do I suck? Am I good? Do I get nervous? can I not show out when it happens? Because, you know, online, I was a monster, right? Ranger always likes to bring up, yeah, you know, Cloud805, online monster, he was smoking everybody. But back then, we didn't have rollback netcode. Y'all got it good right now. We had delay-based netcode, except you Dragon Ball players, you understand. But it was different. We were fighting in the trenches in every avenue.
I remember those days. I know there's a few people who've had that sort of similar kind of glow up, right? OB was the same. He was like, oh yeah, he's just an online Marvel monster. Faisal Dane, exact same thing. Online Marvel monster. They turn up offline and they could do the same thing. And I think I remember when I started going offline on Marvel and I played on PlayStation. So I'll turn up to the first time I turned up to, they went, yeah, we're on Xbox. I was like, why is everyone playing on Xbox? You got cringe, man. I'll go back home and play online. And then I got a converter, went to a next one. I was like, I can't hit combos. And then I found out about the converter delay. So I kind of had the same issue. And I was just like, you guys are losers playing on Xbox. But I didn't know any better back then. I didn't know any better. So yeah, I mean, it sounded, your origin story was humble until you got to putting a target on someone's head and taking them down. Which I've always said, I think to be good at fighting games, you have to have a bit of an ego.
You have to think you're that guy.
Yeah, otherwise, I mean, if you stay at home and play casually, yeah, cool. But when you go offline, I know people like to talk about, you know, go there and make friends, but I don't think, for me, the fighting game community is not like a watered down Tinder. I actually go there to make people upset. I have met friends through fighting games, but that was never the objective, right?
The objective is to prove that the other person sucks.
Well, I think we're just going to have a very amicable conversation because I think this is somewhere where we do agree on.
Dude, the one advice my buddy told me that stuck with me is everybody else sucks. That was his one advice. He's just like, remember, everybody else sucks. And I was like, you're right. Everybody else does suck.
Profound words. I didn't have that.
And just to go like real quick into depth with it, you know, people play the Justin Wongs and they get nervous, right? They play the Tokitos, they start shedding themselves, they're starstruck like some dweebs and stuff like that. It's like, nah, dude, this guy puts on his pants one leg at a time just like you do. He's a mortal man. Don't put him on this pedestal, man.
100%.
And that's, you can respect the player, but you shouldn't hold them in such high regard that it completely just shuts down. You shut down when you play them, right?
I've seen people that when I used to play like Xrd, I remember a lot of new players coming in, and you know, you'd always have those people that are locals that get gassed up and they're like, oh yeah, this guy's super good. He's won the last like 7 months, and they will do like mix-ups and they won't hit confirm me because they're like, oh, that won't hit on him. He's too smart. He's too good, or she's too good. And it's like, let them prove to you that they're good. Don't listen to word of mouth. I played Leo, so I never had that. I did the same mix on everyone until they showed me, right? I was kind of lucky with my character. But you definitely see some players that are strong, but they second guess everything they do because of the name they're going up against. But yeah, the one leg at a time. Do they piss standing up? Yep. Then they can get hit by the same mix that you hit Johnny No Mates on Xbox Live. 100%. That's a really good advice. I don't feel that that's a message that people put out. Like you said, I feel a lot of people get starstruck when you talk about players. I don't think it's intentional. I guess it's because of like accolades, right? Once you start saying, oh, that guy did X, Y, and Z, you just think, oh, they're super good. Do you think there's any way to, other than having that mantra, do you think there's a way to kind of keep that in mind when you sit down and play someone that you know is like good at a game? Or
I mean, just so my perspective, or I guess my advice to people would be, you know, what has happened to you? Whatever has happened to you has happened to them 1,000 times. You're right. Don't think they have an answer for everything. That 1v3 comeback that happened to you, yeah, it's happened to the best players in the world. Right? You've been perfected. They've been perfected. It's Murphy's Law, dude. Anything that can happen will happen. Right? No one is free to that law, in my opinion.
That's fair. Do you think, in terms of competing, if you could have like a scale, how hard do you think it is to be like a competitive player in like fighting games? an arbitrary scale, not compared to anything else, just on like a 1 to 10 scale.
I would say, man, that's a good question. Fighting games, without going into depth, like you said, no frame data, nothing like that, right? Just a general arbitrary scale. I would say decently hard because it takes a lot of time. You have to sink a lot of time into fighting games, and you can't get carried for the most part. There are some characters that can carry in certain games, but it's still you doing all the heavy lifting, right? Making the decisions, you know, getting the reads, baiting your opponent, things like that. No one else is there to carry you. You don't have teammates, right? The coaching is virtually non-existent nowadays. Because people have, you know, cried, complained, bitched, and moaned about it. Especially the Smash players. Shout outs to them. They're burning right now. They're a dumpster fire.
Yep, they're in shambles. When have they not been in shambles for something though? That's the thing.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty hard. And then one of the biggest hurdles too is, you know, people have egos, right? They don't like having damaged egos. They hate losing. People hate looking embarrassed. So there's a lot of walls they have to climb to get good at fighting games, right, as opposed to other things.
I always thought that in terms of like fighting games, sort of like going on what you was talking about, I think the emotional stress of fighting games is like extremely high, probably higher than not being able to like execute a combo, like the physical side, because like you said, you're on your own. And a lot of other like team games, for example, you have someone to fall back on when you lose. When you lose in a fighting game, there is no one behind you to look for. Like maybe they're cheering for you and you let them down. That's the only emotional support you get, is the fear of letting your friend down who's like sat there, taught you the matchup, and you're like, I can't lose to this person. My mate's better than this character. You. Yeah, I've had that a couple of times where I'm like, I feel worse for losing to this person, not because of my ego, but the pride I have that I should know it from the person I've played. And there's no, I feel when you, as a casual player, I don't know if you felt this, as a casual player, I use that frustration to not want to lose again, where I think most normal people that don't have like a massive ego just go, nah, this ain't for me, and they just throw their hands up. Either just go into casual queue or just play another game. I think good fighting game players are just built different, and they've got a little bit of like Vegeta inside them, where they're like, fuck this guy, man. Fuck this guy, I want to get better and beat him.
They study, take whatever issue they have to the lab.
I think I like the energy, but I know it can sometimes come out in a bad form, and then you get the whole kind of like, oh, we're all toxic. I think you can't play fighting games at a high level and not have a little bit of that toxicity in you. I don't think. There might be someone who's super chill and good vibes all the time, but I think when you're competing and there's something big on the line, you have to go in with that energy like, this guy's fucking shit and I'm gonna smoke him.
Well, I mean, you have to consider we're at the most featherweight time of the FGC it has ever seen, where everybody wants to play butt tag and hold hands, right? Like I feel like the last stand of shit talk money match culture died with Street Fighter 4 and Marvel 3, right?
Yeah.
Think about all the money matches, shit talking, the team regional exhibitions, right? You know, curly mustache from Marvel, things like that. You don't really see things like that anymore. Granted, there's still a few guys that are still money matching. You know, look at Noka, look at OP, right?
Yeah.
You know, those guys are still trying to take people's lunch money, but for the most part, people just want to be friends. You know, there's nothing wrong, right, if you want to make friends, but at the same time, I feel that passion of the fire of, you know, having beef, it doesn't have to be friendly beef. Like, you could legitimately not like somebody in the community, as long as you don't take it physical and you just keep it within the game.
Yeah,
that's fine. You know, beef drama like that, and it's hype. It builds a story. But if everybody's just holding hands, being friends or like that, or, you know, just there's not much really off of it. It's like, oh, cool, you know, GG's.
Yeah.
But now imagine, you know, EVO Grand Finals. You have two people that don't like each other. Think how much better that is for the scene, right? How much of a bigger story it is, right? Like, oh yeah, these guys from day one never liked the way they played. They don't like each other. They've been talking shit, right? They're finally selling it on the big stage, bragging rights for the next. You know, you could talk shit to this person. Like, well, remember that one time I beat you at EVO? It doesn't even have to be in grand finals. It could just be at any point, right? Especially if it's on stream. So I feel that aesthetic or that little charm that we used to have is not as apparent of a thing. And people love storylines. People love drama if it's done correctly. But that's becoming a thing long forgotten, right?
Yeah, 100%. I feel when you said about lunch money with like Obi and Noka, I'm like, yeah, in Marvel it was like mortgages. Like some people would have to probably go homeless for a week because they've just not got their rent anymore because of the amount of money that they put behind it. And I know when I was watching fighting games, Marvel was so different to Street Fighter. Street Fighter did have it, like you said. It was kind of like pride grudges where they were like, I just want to prove that I'm good. But with Marvel, it's like, I want to prove that you don't belong here. Like, you're not good enough to stand in my shadow sort of energy. And like you said, it's toxic. It's not everyone's taste, but I'm prepared to do the research in this. But I feel if you ask any like random person who's on the internet, like, oh, who won Evo last year? They couldn't tell you. But if I said, oh, did you see that match between Viscant and Lotte God? They'll know about it. They'll know about it. There's no money there. It was mostly just pride, right? But like you said, the drama, I know people try to avoid it. And I think I agree with you in terms of like, you can have good drama. As long as it doesn't turn physical, you can, you know, when it's not forced and people just, two individuals don't like each other, everyone else can use that to their benefit in terms of like a showcase. Because there's nothing better than seeing two players that think the other one's shit. That is so good to see, man. Like, that's like the reason why people like don't watch pools, because you know who's gonna win and come out. But when there's two people and they think they're better, it doesn't matter about their gameplay at that point. You just want to see the end result.
The pop off, right? The shit talking that ensues afterwards. You
can't put a price on it. And I do agree with you. I think Marvel was like the last place I saw. I mean, Marvel's a very high bar, to be fair. It's a pretty
$1,000 money matches. Every year you just have somebody just put, like you said, their mortgage up, right? You know, F-Champ, very popular money match guy. I played a lot of money matches, you know.
Even in Marvel 2, like with Fnatic, like it, and it was so cool to even retrospectively go back, because I didn't really play. I didn't know there was a scene in Marvel 2. I played Marvel 2, I just didn't know anyone else did outside of like my street or my block, right? And I went into Marvel 3 and they were like, oh yeah, this guy's been playing since Marvel 2. And I was like, oh damn, I didn't even think about that. That's stupid. Of course people have been playing before Marvel 3. Let me go back and watch those. And I remember when I was watching the game and I was like, I don't know much about fighting games, but this looks mad unfair and cheap. Why would you put any money on this? Like, it looks unreasonable. I was like learning about the air guard crush. I was like, so if you block one thing in the air and then they make you block something else, it's an unblockable, and you put money, that's crazy. That is
Marvel 2. You get hit once, you get guard broken, you get TLD, just repeated for the next character. It was sick, man.
Super. I don't know if it's ever going to come back. I feel the more we move away from grassroots, the higher ups, the suits aren't going to like that kind of energy. But
I don't even think it's a grassroots thing. Again, I think it's just, at this point, everybody's just like, yeah, let's be friends. Let's hug it out, right? You know, even then, the friendly rivalry, right? That, you know, I had with buddies in Marvel 3, right? Like, okay, for example, my buddy Paradigm, he beat me, you know, to get into top 8 Evo, right? Marvel was 2015, 16. He beat me and I was fucking pissed. Like, he shook my hand and I was like, don't touch me. I'm like, don't look at me. Don't talk to me. He just walked away, right? He let me get angry, you know. I simmered down and I came back and I was like, good stuff, man. But now people, they're like, oh, I'm so happy you beat me. It's like, bro, be pissed, be mad. You lost. It's okay. You're still friends at the end of the day, but at least have that friendly rivalry.
You know what's funny about that shaking hands thing? Because this is fresh in my memory. I don't know when this is going to go up. It might be dated, but it's still relevant now. When Hayat was at the World Tour, and was it Yasha that beat him? I think it was Yasha that beat him, and he didn't shake his hand, and everyone in the chat was going, just shake his hand, dude, just be a nice person. I was like, this is cringe, man. Like, why?
What led up to that? Was it like a dropped combo? I think Hayat messed up somewhere, right?
I I can't remember who's playing. Maybe it wasn't Yasha, because I think Yasha played in the other pool. I can't remember. But yeah, someone beat him, and it might have been Fred or something, and he didn't shake his hand. And it was clear that he wasn't shaking his hand because he was disrespecting his opponent. Something happened, so he couldn't play his ability. But seeing the stream chat make fun out, not, I think in Marvel, people would have taken the piss out of Hayat for not shaking his hand, like, oh, he got his ass kicked, right? Like, he got absolutely washed. But people were taking the piss out of him, were like, he's such a sore loser. And I'm like, I don't think you guys understand. Like,
at that
how do you explain it? How do you explain that he's not being a sore loser? Like, and the difference? I don't know. I don't know how you explain it to anyone.
There's a difference between being disappointed in yourself and then just being a sore loser to your opponent, right?
Yeah.
But people don't really know how to differentiate it until they're in that moment. Because I'm sure later, you know, Hayat was probably like, good games, right? But that's off camera. People don't give a shit what happens off camera, right? You know, later he's probably like, oh, sorry, you know, I was upset, whatever, blah, 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 right? But again, they only care what's on camera. They don't care what happens behind the scenes. No one's filming, no one's uploading it.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, it's a bit weird. Hopefully, I kind of want it to come back, but I feel it's going to push a lot of people out. That kind of Marvel money match shit talking. If anyone, I imagine like Korn being around now. Yeah,
coalition of real dudes.
Cord. We call him Cord.
Yeah, Cord. I can't say that word, bro.
I'll join you in solidarity. We're gonna call him Cord. Yeah. Correlation of real dudes. Yeah, that energy I found like super fun. Even when I saw the video when they made that guy cry, which I shouldn't laugh at. I shouldn't.
Crying Brian, that guy?
Crying Brian. But look at him now. He had the last laugh.
Yeah, he did.
He had the last laugh. We want to see those narratives. Like, we want to see those storylines. And they're natural. They're not like forced. But if everyone's like Teletubby land, just like holding hands, like you said, it feels a bit, it's like a zero moment. What am I fighting for? Like, it feels empty.
The moments that are born from it are time. Like, have you seen Somebody's Getting Fucked, the Street Fighter 4 video? It's like, bro,
get fucked. Somebody's good. Yeah, it's the best. It's the best.
It's amazing. Have you seen the Gears of War video where those two T's are just like talking shit? That dude's like, put your whole bank account on it. Put your whole bank account on it. Yeah. Those moments are timeless, man.
Yeah.
So we don't get those moments if people are, again, you know, too friendly or scared, right? Again, there's good drama, right? It can be done right. You know, you don't have to be cursing somebody's, you know, undead or unborn child, right? Unborn child or anything like that. You can have good drama where even if you were to lose at the end of the day, more people know who you are, right? At least you had the balls, the gall to step up or put your money where your mouth is. But now it's just people, you know, they go to Twitter, you know, they'll subtweet or be passive aggressive, right?
Yeah. Those shadow tweets, man. Oh my God. Just at the person. At least at the person. That's the bar we're working with. Like, I'm not even asking, like, put up like loads of money. Just when you're talking shit about someone, say their name so they can reply.
Yeah,
like,
tweet up something.
Let them be able to fight back. Like, yeah, it's weird because you can't say like this is bad. People being friendly is something you don't want to say. Losers like dislike each other. I know. Have you got someone you actively dislike? In fighting games.
So, all right. So Chris G, right?
Right.
Do you remember when he backed out of the online nationals for Dragon Ball?
For Dragon, for Dragon Ball. Yeah.
Okay, so you know he backed out, and for the record, he's always had terrible netcode or internet, right? He's always had terrible internet. It's always been him, and he blames other people. I don't know why he thinks. There's many people who can attest to how poor his internet connection was back then, and we would all be like, "Chris, your internet's not good. Come on, man. Like, get a better provider or something. Maybe it was wireless. I don't know." So you know, he backed out of the tour, and he blamed Bandai, and he blamed Namco, whatever, right? Oh, their servers, blah blah. But it was like, no, man. I was like, no, dude, it's you. And you're giving up this good. I added him, right? I cold tweeted him on Twitter, and I was like, bro, you're an idiot. You're making a mistake here. Why are you doing this? They offered you an opportunity, especially right now. This was like after the CEO for EG changed, and I think he just got, taken off the team, right?
Right.
Because of the new CEO and the tweet he made many years ago, right? And all that. And, he made poor decisions, right?
Yeah,
Chris G Classic. And here comes another one. So I'm like, dude, no, what are you doing? Like, why are you throwing this opportunity? A big company's giving you a chance. You don't think other companies are gonna look at this and be like, "Oh, you're making he backed out. Oh, we don't want that guy. He's a flight risk." So that he added me or quote tweeted me or whatever. He's just like, "Oh, you're Two-Faced or what? Blah blah blah. You're cool in my face, but you're act dumb online." I'm like, bro, if I was Two-Faced, I would say this behind your back. I'm probably like the only person that would publicly tell you made a shitty decision, but you're too immature to see the ramifications of your actions and to see the place I'm coming from is I'm being 100% real with you. I don't know. I don't keep up with him, but I don't think he's gotten an opportunity with a fighting game dev team or anything like that since then. Again, I don't keep up with the guy, right? I don't know what he's done. I hope I don't think he's learning from his actions because he just put infiltration on his stream, which he was too dense to understand that people didn't get mad at him because he put infiltration on his stream. People got mad at him for what he's done, and then people got mad at him because he's like, we're going to learn the real story, and it's not more so of an approach that should have been, we're going to see if infiltration has grown up as a person or changed, right? It's not what you say, C4. Okay. It's how you say it, right? It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah, no, I haven't watched it. I know he's done the whole... got cancelled. I think it was a cool concept, him and F-Champ, because like we've been saying, that sort of pop-off like Marvel culture revolved around those two players. They did it a lot, and they kind of, they were the heel to make people want to be like that. So I thought the concept of their thing was all right. I saw the infiltration thing. I haven't watched the podcast, and I did see like everyone being mad at Chris G for having infiltration on, and I was like, I guess it... But I didn't see the content, so I had like no say in the matter.
I didn't watch it either, but I mean, again, it's more so just like the approach of it, right? It's not the fact that they did it; it's how they approached it, right? There's certain things, again, nowadays, there's certain things you have to approach carefully because if not, people are gonna get pissed at you. It's the time and era we live in. That's just how it is nowadays. People don't like one thing; they just so solidified in their opinion that if you don't have the right way to talk about it and lean people into it, people are going to attack you without a second thought. Even if you didn't do anything wrong, if they already have this preconceived notion, you're going to get attacked by the mob, right? Pitchforks and everything.
It's the FGC is turned into eggshells. Like you actually have to. I think back in the day I was like, oh, only sponsors have to do that. Only sponsors have to filter themselves. I think everyone has to do it now, which is.
Look what happened to Panda, man. One man. One man. And you know what sucks about that? Do you know a G2A, that like tier 1 big esports company?
Yeah, G2A, yeah.
So did you know what happened with them? Or did you hear what happened with them? Nope. This was probably maybe a couple months prior to Panda. So basically the CEO was all butt buddy with Andrew Tate, and you know how the masses feel about Andrew Tate, right? So like he was butt buddies with them, and G2A was like, oh shit, this is having horrible backlash. So they let go of the CEO, and G2A stuck around. Dr. Allen B did something shitty, but what the FGC did was they took all of Panda, the entirety of Panda with them, right? And then afterwards, the people were like, oh, maybe we were too hard on Panda. Well, too late, assholes. You threw away one of the best things the FGC had. This was an FGC-only team. And all you had to do was just cut off one limb, but you took the entire body. And now look at all these people that don't have sponsors now, right? They're just being solo, independent. So many jobs are gone because you felt the necessity that you had to be a social justice warrior through thick and thin without even thinking about what could happen to all these other people that weren't involved when it was only one person.
That is literally baby with the bathwater. Just everyone has to go. Everything. That is, dude. I didn't know it was that. I didn't know that was the case. I just obviously I saw the effect, like everyone losing their sponsorship that was with Panda. But to know it was from like one person, one individual.
Yeah. Granted, he did some terrible things, sure, whatever, strong arm, the Smash community, blah blah blah. But why are you taking the ship when it's only one person? You know, nobody else was involved. Maybe one other person, right? But for the most part, the rest of the team wasn't involved. Some people try to hang on, but too many people left. A lot of people just were like, "Oh, I don't want to get attacked by the Twitter fiends," you know. The what do you call them? The fusions? What do you call them, C4?
Oh, what, the SJWs? Yeah, the strong fusions. Yeah, the blue hairs.
Yeah, because people wanted the instant gratification of them being like, "Oh, you left the team. Good for you." It's like, well, no, one person was the issue. Why are you taking everybody else with you? Just cut off the problem and move on from that.
Simple solutions, but somehow I wouldn't even say FGC. People tend to, when there's too many of them, they tend to, fuck it up. I was going to ask, do you think it's important if you're competing to have like a sponsor in nowadays? I think back in the day, it was more important just because of like finance, like getting to tournaments and whatnot.
Yeah.
Now, do you think it's as important or less important or the same?
I think it depends on how far you want to take fighting games. Do you do it as a hobby or do you want to do it as a lifestyle? That's the first and foremost. If it's a hobby, you don't need a sponsor. You play online, you play the games that have rollback, right? If you're good at the game, you enter one of the 7 tournaments every day for Strive, right? One of the 10 tournaments for KOF. There's a tournament 3 times a week at least for each game, right? Marvel, KOF, Strive. 2 of those games have rollback, right? You're fine. Street Fighter 5, right? There's online events now. We're in the era of online, so I don't think you need a sponsor. Not as much anymore, unless you want to make it a lifestyle, due to the fact that you can make hundreds of dollars in the comfort of your own home every week if you're good enough at the game, right?
That makes sense. That leads into the connection. So I'm on record. I'm probably on record saying that once you've become a competitor and you've like played, you've traveled, you've got trophies and whatnot, there's 2 avenues that you have to go down. One is you either become a commentator or you do content. I think that's the only kind of places that can utilize your knowledge of playing at a high level. Would you agree? Or
I would say those are the easiest avenues because you could do stuff, you could try to run your own event, get invitational. If you're well established enough, you can get sponsors and things like that. So that's a complicated answer to give depending on, like, for example, if Daigo was like, "Oh, I don't want to play anymore. I want to be a TL," people would be lining up, frothing at the mouth to be like, "Oh, if you called it, I don't know, the Beast series or something. Oh, you got Hitbox, HyperX, some random Japanese company, right? He could do anything he wants, but other people like me, it's either content or commentary or both, right?
Yep.
At least until a game that comes out that I want to invest in again. Because right now, for me, emotionally, fighting games competitively are down here, right? And, I was up here with Marvel. I was right here with the start of Dragon Ball, but then, as everybody else, the interest for the game has gone down, and hopefully this new patch makes it better. But to stay on topic, commentary or content are the easiest to do. Content more so than commentary because you have to have the gift of gab. You could be a good player, right? You could be the best player in the world, but if you don't know how to talk, no one's gonna want you.
You know what's weird? Go on. I think it's harder the content wise, the gift of the gab thing, because I feel with commentating, you're talking to it, you're always mentally talking to like spectators or viewers, but you're physically only talking to one other person. But when you're doing content, you have to get everyone to like you. As a commentator, I don't have to get anyone to like me. But when you do your thing, if people don't like you, your stream like plummets, right? So I think it's harder to talk to everyone and get them to come back than commentate, say a couple of things about what's on the screen and not have to be nice to people. I actually think it's the other way around. I think your job is harder than mine, basically.
You're not considering the fact that with content, you can pre-record everything, do everything by yourself. You don't have to do it in front of a live audience or things like that. And you don't even have to really stream your webcam of yourself to your audience or really talk to your audience. Granted, people, if you're not sick nasty at the game, you're not going to get viewers, right? So that is the one thing. You're not top 5, top 10. If you're not a top 5, top 10 player in fighting games, all right? Not Apex, not Call of Duty, not Fortnite, right? Because the spectator pool in that game, those games is like 100 times the FGC, It's gonna be a little harder. But if you're making educational videos or shit posting meme videos, you can do all that not in front of a live audience. Now, when you're saying you don't have to have people like you in commentary, that's not true. Think of all the commentators that have been in the scene since you've started that have, and again, this is my low bar of if you're a good commentator or not. So all of you aspiring commentators out there, yes, you listen to this. Okay, this is my easiest advice if you're a good or bad commentator. Is the chat arguing about you? Is the chat in a war if your commentary is good or not? If people are getting timed out left and right because of you, you're more than likely not a good commentator. That's not to say that you could be the perfect commentator, right? You could be the Sage M, the Tasty Steves, the Yipes, but even they still have haters. But that number is so far and few between how many people actually like them. And those people get drowned out by the amount of people that like them. But again, you're saying you don't need people to like you, C4. You do, because I would not hire a commentator where, and I've seen this happen, where it takes away from the viewer experience and therefore kills my numbers. I've seen that happen. Terrible commentators have killed tournament streams.
I guess this is the moment. This is the moment where we disagree. I don't disagree with you massively, though. So when you said about the chat, I think polarizing is kind of bad, right? But I think of someone like Ski Sonics, who I thought was a good commentator, and everyone hated him for some reason.
Yeah, that I would say is the exception to the rule. I thought he was fine, but I think at that point it was cool to hate him.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I never got why everyone did. I came in obviously late. I don't know if there was like some backstory to it, but he seemed hype. He seemed knowledgeable about the characters, the players. And yeah, everyone in the chat was just like, get this guy off. And I didn't understand it. And I think that jaded my mentality on commentating, because it's like, I could be nice. I could be good to everyone. Yeah. And people still dislike me. So I was like, fuck it. I'll just, I try to do commentary like, I want to have like the girl next door commentary, where when I'm talking, it feels like I'm just your friend, or you're at like a local, like a house session. I don't want to be like too esports, so it feels like I'm above anyone, because I don't like that kind of like hierarchy stuff. So I don't mind when I know a lot of commentators hate when they misspeak or they like fumble the words. I want to be normal, so when I do it, I just laugh it off. In terms of difficulty, I didn't think about it, because when I was thinking of content creating, I don't know why, I only thought about streaming. But yeah, pre-recording and having a script, that kind of does balance it out. But the liking thing, I'm not sure, because there's definitely been commentators that have been liked and done a bad job, but people still like them. So I guess you would be right then. Because I think about I don't know if you watched Arc Revo, the last year's one, when Logan was the host.
Last year.
So Logan Sama. Yeah, Logan Sama was the host, and way back when I was competing, Logan said some crazy stuff.
I remember this, and they randomly brought it. It was like what, 5, 6, 7 years prior to this or something, and somebody was like, remember that one time Logan Sama? I was like, bro, that was so long ago. Like how old is Logan? Mid-20s maybe, right? Late 20s maybe?
Nah, he's got to be older than that. He used to, well, he might still do it, I'm not sure, but he used to be like a DJ. He was like a host on the radio. He was a DJ radio host. So I was there. I was one of the people he attacked, I guess, quote unquote, on Twitter. Yeah, so me and him had like a mad falling out. We was gonna like fight offline IRL. It was some comment about he made some comment about all you guys of anime profiles like the Tasty Round Seaman, blah 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 blah. It was funny. I laughed. I laughed. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But then he said something directly to me, and then I was like, fuck this guy. I said something about his eyes. It got real fucked up, like real bad. But he was the bigger man because like a couple of months later, he was the first person who recommended me to UFA to do my commentating.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So I've always rated Logan because he did not need to do that. He could have just, like literally spun my jaw if he wanted to. Like he ran WSO. I was going there to play my anime games. And then he recommended me. So I've always got time for him. So when it came to Arc River, when he was doing the hosting, and people were like, oh, this guy doesn't even play anime games. He's a Street Fighter player. And he's always taking a piss out of anime players. I'm like, regardless of that, he's the best person to do hosting because that was his real life job on radio.
Yeah.
But not his personality, his persona that people had of him took away from how good he was at doing hosting. And when I commentate, that's what I feel like. I feel like, fuck what people think. I just want to know that I did a good job. The TOs, the organizers, they're the guys that are hiring me, not the community. So that's why I'm not sure about getting people to like you is important. I guess it makes your life easier, 100%. But other than Ski Sonics, I don't know if I've seen someone get like torn down because the community didn't like them. But there might be some other ones out there. I'm not sure. Yeah. It's definitely it's a fine line because I don't want to be hated. I mean, I wouldn't mind being a heel, but even then, you're not being hated. You're being like disliked. It's a little bit different, right? You're being the person that people want to get good to be or be better than. You're
in that gray area.
Yeah, and I think it's hard to do that as a commentator. I think as a content creator, it would be a bit easier. You've got more control of the narrative, I would say.
Yeah.
But I don't think I can think of any content creators that are like that. I always thought Smug was going to be like that, but he's just too funny. He's too funny and he's too good. So everyone loves him. I guess Punk kind of in that area, but he's also still he's a competitor. Like,
yeah,
I would say he's more of a competitor than a content creator, even though he does both like properly.
Yeah, for sure.
It's weird. It's a weird area. I mean, what do you think it's important to have sort of like heels in content creating, or do you think that's just more for like competing on like fighting games?
Well, I mean, again, right, there's such a thing as good drama, you know.
All right. Yeah.
So if you have somebody who has a target on their back or whatever, like think about this: you run into a content creator on a ranked match or something and online. You know, this dude's a heel or whatever. If you beat his ass, you know, you can make a video out of it. And all of a sudden you have this like little mini drama series, right? Like, oh, you know, like look at LTG, right? So
right.
Perfect example. People beat LTG and some of the funniest shit has come from this guy. All right, there's so many LTG memes. There's so many LTG songs. Like, it's a perfect example of that heel, right? The person who says some crazy shit. Maybe, you know, she's wilded out a few times. Definitely. Yeah. Well, he's gotten a little too hard. But you cannot deny the fact that some of the best, the memes that have transcended the FGC has come from this guy.
Yep. If anyone has, I don't know, like two hobbies, I know, wild, right? But if you've got two hobbies and you look at people that don't play fighting games, as long as they're in the internet, I'm pretty sure they would have heard of Low Tier God. Same with Dark Side Phil.
Yeah.
DSP.
At least seen pictures of them.
Yes.
Bare minimum.
Absolutely. And it's like, what's his accolades in terms of winning, competing?
Nothing. That's the best part. That man has more of a reach than evil winners. It's insane.
Easy. So, and I do I say this? I think I want to say it. I think I like Low Tier God in terms of, I feel he's like the Kid Buu of the FGC. He's like all the evil, dark, trolly, memey energy from the FGC into one body. I feel he's like the love child of all the things that we try to pretend we're not. and that's what it would be like manifested. But I think personally, it's clearly an act, mostly an act. When he's doing the stream raging and stuff like that, because people have said that they've met him offline and he's not like that.
Yeah.
I think if he acted how he did on camera in real life, he would get banned from tournaments.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I'm convinced, maybe I'm getting bamboozled, maybe it's hustling me. I think it's mostly an act. Again, I find it funny. So I have to accept that if I find his humor funny, I am also pretty toxic. And I just have to accept it. I mean, he said some when he called that guy Kang from Ninja Turtles. I don't know the name of the person. Kang thing, the hammerhead shark. It was kind of funny, but you shouldn't laugh.
That's toxic, dude.
It is toxic. I guess because it stemmed from fighting games. I find it funny when you can get that sort of emotion out of someone to say in the first place. That's what I find funny. Seeing someone throw their pad is funny because they got that angry over a game.
Yeah.
That's what makes the comments fun. The comment itself isn't funny. It's the reason why he said the comment. It's like,
yeah,
because you got crush canned and died. Now you're just throwing out crazy insults that are borderline like ableist, man. Like, relax. Yeah.
That man is walking to the thin line, right?
razor tight line. It's pretty messed up. I mean, but like we said, the publicity, he's transcended FGC. People know of him outside of fighting games. So do you think it's worth it? Would you, obviously you probably wouldn't do it, but do you think the trade-off to be like, the FGC is kind of like a small pond, maybe, you throw out a couple of crazy insults here and there, but go, I'm only joking, I'm not normally like that. Do you think that's a worthwhile thing to do, or?
No, I will say that I feel that LTG is a 1 in a million instance, right?
Right.
That man just persevered, got banned on Twitch, went to YouTube, got banned on YouTube, went to Facebook, right? Got unbanned on Twitch, came back to Twitch. That man's been banned on Twitch so many times, and it's just been in so many scandals or just drama, anything, right? But persevered, stayed around, somehow built an audience. As crazy as this sounds, I gotta commend the guy for persevering through everything, through thick and thin, not giving a shit what people said or cared about him. Oh, hold on, my dog doesn't want to go outside.
Cool. As I'm not editing this, I'll just talk while Cloud does the good thing. Oh no, that was quick.
Let me clarify. I'm not saying what he did was right. A lot of the things were very outlandish. Some of them, some of the shit that he's been involved in, right? All the memes funny. But for those of you watching, don't think that you could just bust an LTG and come out in the same avenue he did, because that shit's 1 in a million, dog. 1 in a million.
There was a lot of foreplay before he started going like that. And he got opportunities. I don't know, when he got put on the TV show, they had like the Big Brother Street Fighter thing, right? Where they're all in a house and stuff. He got that opportunity. And I'm pretty sure they would have known what kind of energy he would have brought. And I'm sure they would have done it for that reason, right? But he wasn't like that on that show.
He knows he's self-aware.
It's an act. It has to be an act. Yeah. It's the only way it makes sense. Because I think they brought him in so that some of that energy would have trickled out, and like you said, it would have been drama, right? But like he just took his L and went, "Damn, I wasn't good enough," and that was it. I think the producers were like, "We didn't get you for that fucking reason, mate. We wanted you to rage. We wanted a fucking controller held at the camera or something." But yeah, I think his content is definitely it's a niche, but the FGC don't like it because of where it shows people outside the FGC. But I think it's more true. Maybe not at that level. He scales it up way too much. He is KO Kedding the toxicity of the FGC.
For sure.
Yeah. But I kind of don't like how he's been shunned from the FGC when he is just us times 10. Like, and most people can kind of understand it's an act. But you know, I guess he doesn't need to come back. It's kind of like when people troll like Smash.
Yeah.
And it's like, but Smash get way more numbers than all of us combined. Why would they want to be part of the FGC? I'm sure they like being called platformers or whatever. It's yeah, it's weird. But yeah, back to content creating, because that's what you predominantly do now. I know you went to LCQ, but would you say you kind of are done with competing until a game that you like, enjoy, thinks competitive comes out? You're just gonna stick to like making content?
I mean, I'll be playing Street Fighter. Street Fighter 6 is my Project L waiting room game, right?
Okay.
For me. So I'll play 6, you know, I'll probably run some events myself, right? Like I did for Dragon Ball, because this game's got rollback. But that's what I'm gonna be playing, you know. I'll take it semi-serious, right? I won't go too hard like I did with Marvel. But Project L, I'm in there just like I was with Marvel, dude. The movement looks similar. It's a team-based fighter, right? They showed some of the mechanics, and it resembles closely to my first love. So I owe it to myself, right? And everybody else to put as much time as I can. I already told my girlfriend, I'm like, first 6 months that game comes out, unless someone's dying or dead, don't bother me.
That's a long time, but
yeah,
hopefully nothing like that happens. And
no, but yeah, hopefully not. But you know, just to get my point across.
Yeah. What? I don't know if you thought about this. I'm sure someone must have said this to you. And I'm wondering, if I was in your shoes, how would I kind of dismiss what they're saying? So if someone came into your chat and was like, man, Cloud's washed up, he can't play fighting games anymore, that's why he's making content, he's trying to be the funny guy, he can't play a balanced game, all he's good at is Marvel games, team games that don't have like good balancing, how do you just like meme it away, like Giga Chad say haha whatever, or do you actually go like, no, I could play, but I chose to do this for X, Y, Z reason? What would you do?
I mean, there's 2 options I could go here. The easiest option, right, would be just zoom in my camera to the gauntlet behind me.
Probably the best trophy.
Yeah.
Full stop. Not even fighting games. One of the best trophies that someone's ever been given. So yeah.
Yeah. So that would be my first option, right? Or the alternative method would be to humor, because you know, when it comes to content creation, right, having a troll like that is actually good for us, right? Because this is when, to get a little bit into depth, this is when the entire stream is like, oh, are you gonna look like a bitch not say anything, or are you gonna roast this troll, right? It is, if you're a streamer, you have to be almost as witty as a comedian when you get heckled, right? So there's multiple avenues I could take. I could just make fun of them. I could make fun of their mother. I could give them a serious answer. Tell them I'm always first place in their mother. Sorry, but just for the sake of the question, and to give them a serious answer, you know, just for the sake of this hypothetical, for people watching, since Marvel 3, right, in the beginning of Dragon Ball, right, first 2 seasons, when I was performing my best, you know, getting 9th all the time, right, which is still good placing, assholes. Okay, mind you, okay, 9th is still good.
Well, not this year when top 6 is all that matters, but yeah. yeah,
exactly. But the misconception, people will be like, oh, you washed up, you didn't make top 8. To get news fucking flashed. Even Daigo doesn't make top 8 a lot of the time. All right. To be fair, right? Your fucking favorite player in the world doesn't make top 8, they're washed up, but you're only as good as your last tournament. The realistic answer that I could give was just, I don't give enough of a shit of current fighting games to take them seriously. If you're not gonna put in the time and the work ethic, you can't expect to get results. You think people who are making these top 8s don't practice, don't learn frame data, don't practice situations? These people eat, sleep, and breathe the nerd shit. Unless you're Kazunoko, that's a different story. but that man's an exception to the rule.
100%. That,
yeah.
When you talk about like fighting game gods, if he's not in your top 3, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, unless you've played games that he hasn't played, which I find hard to believe, because he plays pretty much everything.
Yeah,
he actually does, and he finds the cheapest thing. Him and Takedo are like very close in that way that they'll find something cheap, run it until you patch it out, and if you don't patch it out, I guess they're just gonna keep winning.
Yeah,
like they actually don't care. But yeah, the reason I asked you that question, because I when Strive dropped, and after like a month, I was like, man, I love Leo, but I don't like how I have to play him in this game. And in my head, probably to this day, I'm like, when it comes to like tech with Leo or like strategies, I think I have the best mind for it. But I can't prove it because I don't want to play the game. I don't want to play Leo. I don't want to play Leo.
You don't give enough of a shit, right? You're basically, your heart isn't with the game, which I feel like matters for a lot of people. That there are some people who can swallow their pride and be like, I'm gonna play this game because it's what's hot right now, even though I don't like it. But I can't do that, and it sounds like you can't do it either. Yeah,
but it sounds like an OS when you say it. Like, I shouldn't care what everyone thinks, and I don't for the most part. But for me, I'm like, damn, like, am I coping? Am I just on cope? Am I just not good enough? That's why I don't like it. That's why I was thinking, like, if you have a method of like separating like the cope that I don't care, that's why I'm not good, or I couldn't get that good because my days are past me. I didn't know if you had like a method to figure it out. But
well, I mean, if it makes you feel better, NA isn't good at Strive, so like you're not far behind. Not me, dude. Not me. If you just look at Arc Revel, right? My man, Mochi won with Soul. That character has been nerfed every patch. He pulled it out. They were. I have this joke that the only people playing Strive are Strive players, right?
Okay.
For the most part, because granted, there's a couple people, right? But for the most part, it's like 90% of it is only Strive players. Yeah. But like, you know, a lot of Japan, like the old heads, right, that played Xrd don't really play as much anymore, you know, because they didn't enjoy it. The characters got butchered, but somehow they're still the best region. It's crazy. They lost so many of their strong candidates, but they still they won Dragon Ball, they won DNF, they won Strive,
everything but Street Fighter, I think.
So I would think that because Strive's an easy game. Let's be real here, right? Like it's an easier fighting game that's come out. Like if you look at the older games, you know, Street Fighter 4, Under Night, right? Marvel 3, you know, Xrd, right? Those games are hard in terms of your movement options, right? Combos, execution, things like that. Strive, they openly say they made it more accessible, right? They made it easier. They dumbed down the characters. So the execution and skill check that you always rave about shouldn't be an issue. Actually, isn't an issue in this game. Can you realistically say that there's actually execution barriers in Strive?
IBing, that's it though. So defensively, it's harder than Xrd because the window to IB is higher.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's hard to place IB. So if I'm playing devil's advocate, because I agree with you, I think you know the game, when you say accessible, you mean easy. Let's keep it 100, right? But I used to think about IB and I'm like, is that a skill check or is it like a arbitrary mechanic to make it so the game is more accessible, right? Because if you can't get for example, if you could IB reliably, Kai would be trash. He would be terrible. He wouldn't be able to play the game. Like, he would just get IB throwed all the time. All the fucking time. So I was like, well, maybe they made IBs hard because it would make too many characters unplayable. Or did they make IBs hard so the skillful players have a technique that they can do that the new players can't? Like the barrier. Because I feel most good games need to have a skill check, not a knowledge check, like a skill check. So the people that put in time, if they learn this, they will have a lot easier of a ride beating mashers or scrubs or getting randomed out. And I don't know if IB is that. To this day, I'm still thinking like, I think that's what IB is there for. And it's what, like free frame window to get it?
I think it's 2.
Is it 2? I think it might be 2 actually, I think you're right. I think it is actually 2. But that's not execution. It is execution, but it's unreactable. You can't react with IB. Not 2 frames. You're educated guesses, right? That's what you're doing. Like if you see a string, then you can, but a lot of people can like not stagger the string, they can just end it. Yeah. And then they throw you, and then you try to IB, and then you get thrown, and you're like, damn, that's crazy. Exactly. So yeah, other than IB, I 100% agree with you. Everything is way easier. There's nothing. I mean, they even took out TKDP. They took that out. Axel doesn't have to do DP anymore. It's Core Circle.
Yeah. So
Why?
yeah, they got rid of skill check. So that time investment that you have to have in most, at least the older fighting games, which was way harder, right? You know, Street Fighter 4, dumbass one frame links, right? You would have to learn how to plink, select plink, right? Marvel 3, if you want to do optimal combos, you had to learn how to maximize every avenue, reset your ground bounces, things like that, right? A lot of this time sink that the older games had, current games are just setting them to the side. Right, it's like you don't have to spend hundreds of hours practicing your combos, your execution, your option selects, your plings, none of these crazy frame tight combo assist extensions. The new games are like, okay, well, we're gonna take out the big skill gap in execution, and you can invest time in other things, right? Your neutral game, your spacing, your decision making, your defensive options. That's a lot of time freed up.
Yeah,
you know, and then when they make a dash button, right, in Strive, you no longer have to forward, back. You know, again, they lower the execution barrier. They're just making it easier. You know, dash blocking easier, backdashing things on reaction, or just in that frame tight window. So yeah, you know, it's just easier nowadays.
Do you think that works in your favor as a content creator? Because now you can play multiple games at a higher level because you don't have the time sink. And in tandem with like the devs, you obviously streaming the game to your viewers gets them notice more. So do you think it's a win-win for everyone unless you want to be competitive?
I would say yeah, due to the simple fact that you have multiple avenues of content. It's like, oh, you know, I played Strive today, I beat insert your favorite competitor streamer today, turn them into content, right? You know, you boot up 6, you know, I ride it to Brian F on ranked, guess what happened, you know, things like that. So yeah, in terms of content creation, I think it's great. And you know, of course, the competitor, they'll take time eventually to broaden the gap between you and them because they take it serious, you don't. So eventually there will be the point, unless you're sick nasty, where you're gonna have trouble beating them.
Do you I remember, I think this has probably come up a couple of times, this topic about if you're competing and you're only playing and you're not like trying to brand yourself, or you're not uploading content, you're trolling, like you're actively trying to fail. Do you agree with that sentiment? Do you think you can do you think you have to do all those other avenues if you're competing? Like you have to stream and whatnot, or do you think some players can just, you know, put their head down and just be the best at the game and survive in the fighting game community?
If the other games, I guess I should lead with this. If fighting games become mainstream, along with the other mainstream esport titles, sort of, because even, you know, for the bigger esport titles, Fortnite, Apex, Call of Duty, you know, you had some guy from Cloud9 saying, don't just rely solely on your team, you know, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And yeah, don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's so easy to just double dip with your content. You know, you stream, you don't even have to webcam, mic up. Just look at Wawa, for example, right?
Yeah.
Fucking Wawa hasn't streamed in forever. Go look at his YouTube. You know, Excuses makes the easiest bag, just rips matches, doesn't even edit them, just rips matches for Wawa, throws them up on his YouTube, calls it a day. In fact, how much did his recent video get? Let's see. Let's just Wawa. Yeah, one day ago, 12,000 viewers, right? That's an easy $70 right there, right? Maybe 80, you know. And all Excuses did was, oh, I put some funny mods on my game. Oh, let me rip this match. No funny edits. You know, maybe an outro, maybe an intro. Wawa pays him like $30 a video. Here you go, dude, for doing nothing. All right, sick, great. Wawa could do this himself. It'd make, you know, all that money, keep everything. So yeah, it's super easy. If you're a good player, people love that the way you play. You can just upload matches. Wawa's a perfect example. If you don't believe me, go look up Wawa on YouTube. Man gets 10K plus views per vid. That's an easy $70-$80 per vid, right? Do the math. Multiply that by like 20 to 30 videos a month. While I was making easily like 1,200, even if he skips days, 13, 14, after paying his editor. So yeah, I think that they should, but it's also easy to dip into it. This is the laziest form of content you could have, C4, and it's only going to get easier and lazier with Street Fighter 6 and Project L, and if Tekken puts in an actual rank system.
Yeah, I've dodged all of that because I don't play ranked, and
yeah,
when I used to upload my match footage in Xrd, it was all offline stuff, and it was more for like research.
Yeah.
So I never had that running into randoms that were like hyped to beat me and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I mean, it is the way you're explaining it is like, yeah, it is super easy. It's like, why would you not?
Yeah, exactly.
You're playing anyway. All you got to do is hit literally a red button. So why
upload
not?
the match. That's it.
The only thing I can think of is the exceptions. Like, I remember this happening when Idol won CBT. It happened. I think someone made a point of it on Twitter about when Fenrich won World Tour. They'll look at their stream and there'll be like 10 people in there. And I'm like, how important is being good at the game compared to branding and personality? And I feel you could be a very mediocre player, but if you're funny, people will tune into you.
Of course.
Which kind of, I feel sucks. I think it's whack that the best players aren't getting watched, but I get it because if they're not entertaining, then most people won't watch your stuff, right? Like, I'll watch Juicebox stuff because I'm a nerd. I want to hear all the intricate details and the frame data and the mind games, and then every now and again he'll make a joke. But I know the majority of people aren't really in there to be educated.
But again, that's a fighting game community issue. Our spectator pool is so small. Yeah. Right? That people want everything that comes with it. They want humor. They want, funny scene transitions, right? they want the whole 9 yards, the whole theatrics of it. But if you look at other popular, I'm always going to be referencing them because that's the standard the FGC is trying to get to, right? There's this guy, Imperial Hal. He's very good at the game, right? One of the best players in the game, and he has the most viewers. He sometimes he screams and yells. That's like, I guess, his gimmick, right? But people mainly watch him because he's really good at the game. Him and his team won the equivalent of what is Evo for Apex Legends, right? This past like 2-3 months ago or whatever. So yeah, all the good players do get watched, even if they're not funny or anything like that, in other esport titles. But it's the problem, again, the FGC is 1/10, right? You could combine every games community and we probably still wouldn't be at 1/10 of Fortnite, Apex, Call of Duty. That's just how low we are, and people don't realize that, and I get it, grassroots, whatever, right? But if people want to make this into a living and everything like that, like, there's no other avenue. Grassroots ain't it. Being realistic here.
Do you think it's esports or like just I don't feel good, Mr. Starks, and just like disappear into nothingness? Or do you think there's like a middle ground?
Is there a middle ground? It's called Maturino. Your middle ground is Maturino.
I agree with that sentiment. I used to think that. I think I still do think it. I just don't know how the Maturino model would survive with the whole FGC on their shoulder.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I just imagine Capcom goes, you know what? We're taking our $2 million back. Tekken, you know what? We're not going to run a world tour. We're not going to give any updates to Tekken 8. All the interest dies. People don't think about it that way. They're trying to be esports now. They're trying to appeal to the masses, right? They're doing all these crossovers. They're putting all these characters in Fortnite, right? Because they put Terry in Smash, KOF. People don't realize this. They're already branching out and trying to become mainstream, right? And if it doesn't work out, guess who's gonna suffer? They'll stop making fighting games. FGC's dead. They're gonna keep the rest of their titles. Bandai has so many avenues. They have Dragon Ball, right? They'll be fine. They can make any. Budokai Tenkaichi 4. People shit their pants. I got announced.
Literally.
Capcom's got Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, Devil May Cry. They don't need fighting games. Realistically, fighting games are probably at the very low point of what they make every year, right? Every fiscal year. What made us the least amount of money? Fighting games. Why are we still making them? Because people love them. Okay. So if there's no esports, right? If the game doesn't become mainstream, guess what dies? We die. And you no longer have fighting games, but people are too dense to realize this. They want to talk about grassroots and all that. Not anymore. We've passed that point, and you either adapt or die. What do you think?
Do you agree? I agree. I hate that I'm agreeing with everything. We always argue, but this time,
this is rare instance.
You're only spitting facts. Like,
you're realistic in the grand scheme of things. That's the thing.
It's crazy because I always think because I collect comics, and I'm like, you think since Disney kind of like owned Marvel, I'm like, I don't even think they still know they make comics. Because if Disney was like, what are you making comics for? We've got the MCU. No one reads comics. Like you said, what's making us the least amount of money? That thing over there. It's costing us stuff. Just get rid of it. Like, the only reason they're doing it is because people like it. I can't see how they're making money off it. And it's kind of the same with maybe SNK? Maybe SNK relies on KOF? I doubt it. But I think even they would be like, fuck it, I can't have losses, man. This patching shit is way more hassle than it's worth. They put so many fucking characters into their games as well.
Yeah.
Fucking, that's gotta cost a lot of money. And I always think of fighting games as the money sink to any dev that does it. Oh,
dude, easy for sure. Because again, the pool of players and spectators is so small. If we had half the numbers of these other guys, we would have $1 million tours left and right.
Yeah.
Right, it'd be amazing. You know, everybody would be able to make, not everybody, but the prominent people and players and content creators would be able to make a living off of this, right? Like, you look at any fighting game category, how many people are over 1,000 viewers? Maybe one per game, if that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody that streams Dragon Ball like it's over 1,000 viewers, except Bum when he runs his tournaments. That's it. Street Fighter, I think it's Brian F and Punk. I don't think anybody else breaks that, right? Look at the numbers; they're not there. You look at any other game, you go to Call of Duty, they probably have like 300,000 people watching right now. It's nuts.
And nobody would have that many.
Yeah. It's because the game's mainstream. Everybody loves Call of Duty. That's where fighting game devs are trying to go. But people were spouting this shit about grassroots. Don't get me wrong. Grassroots had its time and place. But we're moving on.
So you have to pick one. You have the... Oh, no, I think you actually didn't say this. I think you disagreed. When I said about the Marvel era was grassroots. You don't think that's got anything to do with grassroots, right? Marvel
3 Street Fighter 4. Well, I mean, Capcom Pro Tour was becoming a thing in Street Fighter 4. Even Marvel was at one of the Capcom Pro Tours. Capcom Cups, I should say. And even MVCI. Technically, I'm a Capcom Cup champion if I think about it, actually.
Technically. But we will never talk about the tournament format.
Yeah. Grassroots... I think Grassroots' last leg was early Street Fighter 5, right? Once real money. When did they first put 250,000 in CPT? That was the first or second year of 5. It was one of those, right? Regardless of what the answer is, once big money got into Street Fighter and they started doing Street Fighter League, I feel like that was basically the final nail on Grassroots, right? They're gonna be wrong.
Okay.
There's people still trying to keep it alive, right? And they're doing a great job. You know, it's not for everybody. Bum, the anomaly, right?
Yep.
Showing my Grassroots works.
Yep.
I don't think there's anybody else. I don't think there's anybody else who, right? I think it's just him.
Yeah, Damascus used to get like a K for Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the last time I saw it. I think it's a little bit different with like Europe and NA. So I think we just use NA as the benchmark because it's way easier. because how the FGC is kind of splintered.
One second.
No problem.
Hold on.
I'm not editing, so I could keep talking. Yeah, the way that it's splintered when it comes to like EU content to NA content, it's a little bit hard to judge numbers. I feel EU watch more NA than vice versa.
Right. I got stuck inside.
All right, no problem. Yeah, I was just saying about how EU watch more NA content and then vice versa, right? NA don't really watch EU content for the most part in the same sort of numbers. So looking at NA numbers is giving us or giving the FGC the best like statistical numbers to gauge compared to the other genres. But what I was saying is like, if you say there's no way that we can kind of make the Marvel 2, Marvel 3 sort of like money match esports have like an esports aesthetic, so we could like basically brand them as fighting games. Fighting games are video game wrestling. Say that was an option, because I think that's the option. I think that's the only option for fighting games.
I was gonna say to back you on that. I think you could in esports have money match culture. Think about it this way, right? Like a boxing match. You have the main card and the undercards, right? You have, I don't know, let's just give out random names. Brian F versus Smug, main card, right? $2,500 money match, whatever. The money could have been fronted by their sponsors. No one's gonna give a shit. They're just gonna see money, and then their eyes are gonna glisten up, and they're gonna be like, "Oh my god, this is hype." Undercard could be, I don't know, someone from TSM versus somebody else from G2A, right? Or Dead Zero, something like that. You could have, let's say, Chris CCH versus Punk on the undercard. People are like, "Oh my god, this lineup's crazy." Oh, what, $1,000 winner, between the both of the money match, right? People don't give a shit if it's fronted by the sponsor. All people know is people are gonna watch it, and it's gonna be hype, right? And then you could have another undercard of, I don't know, you could do Filipino Man versus who would be good?
Hurricane? Just for an EU player in there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Or you could have, Ender Walker, right? Somebody, right?
Yeah.
X, whatever. Doesn't matter. Again, $1,000, right? You could sell this whole wrestling, boxing, main card, undercard format. People would love that shit. Right? I could definitely see that having a place. And to sponsors and teams, that's nothing. $2,500 fronted, nothing.
You gotta imagine how much they pay for teams.
Yeah, they wipe their ass with that amount of money. For real. Because for teams, for those of you that don't know, just to give you a general idea, they'll buy teams houses for them to live together and train in. They'll pay all their bills while paying them a salary, while paying them whatever else. Yeah, that's a drop in the bucket. Oh, we don't need these guys in the same house? Great. Perfect.
It's I've always thought like what I've always wanted to do on my stream, but logistically it was just a bit too rough. I wanted to get Strive players to play Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
And then have them stream their journey. It's basically like the Rocky thing. As we're using boxing as an analogy, that's what you don't really get with boxing unless you're watching a boxer that you like. You don't see the progression journey to that main event. But I would find it super sick to watch. I nearly said Latif. That wouldn't be interesting because he already knows how to play the game. But a Strive player that's not played Street Fighter 4, learn about like one frame links and OSs and tech traps. I would want to see that journey.
Umisha,
that would be sick.
Yeah, I could hear it already. What the fuck do you mean I have one frame? What do you mean I can't get lead? What do you mean it's not a chain system?
I think that would be godlike to see a good player, because all the good people, even though Strive's hard, they're good players, because when you have a game that's volatile like that, being consistent is the mark of a good player. To consistently be good. So to see them play something like Street Fighter 4 where it's a different type of good, and then have to fight another another Strive player in Street Fighter, everyone's gonna have no idea who's gonna win. So you've got that element of like 50-50, just root for your favorite player, and you get the journey of their stream to the main event. And then have the sponsors throwing money, because at that point no one cares. They're just going to be like, my favorite player is going to win. I think that's the only way to make the FGC esports, because everyone else has done all the other angles and they're doing it way better.
Yeah.
We can't compete. We might as well lean into the fact that it's a head-to-head, one of the few like gaming things that's only one person versus one person. And even in that aspect, they don't have to have beef.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not. Because it's already hype anyway. People are gonna be like, "Oh shit, what is this? Well, they both playing for. None of them have ever played it. Oh, this is great. Game came out before they were born. It's time."
Yes, that was like you said. For me, the best part is watching them on stream going, "What? Yeah. That doesn't." Again, Marvel 2. You block something in the air, then the second time you can't block, it's unblockable. So, and then you just loop Hyper Viper Beam over and over again. That's optimal. What?
Watch them get vortexed by a Kuma or a Buki. The unblockables in Street Fighter 4, the left rights. Yeah. Well, I blocked that. Why did I get hit? Well, you thought you blocked
it. Welcome to the world of cross-ups. You know, before they had games with without a block button. Yeah, this is what we had to do. And you didn't have delayed wake up or variable wake ups. Yeah, good times. I think that is kind of it, right? So the content avenue kind of plays in with the esports, because I think you can't have one without the other. I think the esports part can only come around from content creators getting the like fighting games, because I think you're never going to convince someone who doesn't play fighting games that it's not just button mashing. I don't think it's possible.
Yeah.
Unless you can like kidnap them and sit them down next to you and show them like, look at the timing I'm having to do. Like, you can't do that. You can show someone a Marlon Pie combo and they're like, oh, that will take me like 5 minutes to learn. It fucking won't. You can't explain it to them though, because they're just hearing buttons, right? But I think the content creating part, even if you can't translate over how hard execution is, or like strategies, mind games, 50-50s, blah, 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 you can show the fun aspect of it. And that's,
most definitely.
That's the most important thing, I feel, for getting I don't think the fighting game community has many people that don't play fighting games that just watch, where I think every other esports has that. They've got people that don't play Dota watch Dota religiously.
Oh yeah, well, again, just goes back to the spectator pool, right? It's just like a real life sport. Baseball, basketball, right? There's so many people, especially as they get older, right? But I will say that is the one difference though, right? Since this is a physical sport, people of all ages could play. You're not going to see an 80-year-old man over here trying to dunk on LeBron.
True. And I guess we have got some like elderly people that still play fighting games, I guess. You would think their reactions would drop off, but maybe they're just...
Look at Sako, look at Daigo. Yeah. They're both 40.
I guess they're relying more on their XP than their reactions, right? But yeah, I think that I've spoken to, I actually nearly applied for a job where it was like a betting shop. Well, not a betting shop, it was a betting website. And they used to do NBA and FIFA, and they wanted to start doing fighting games. I was like, it's like the easiest one. It's a no-brainer.
Well, it's a no-brainer, but the hard part, sorry to cut you off, is like, you could do it for the first top 8 matches, but then after that you have to do live betting, right? But go on. But I was thinking,
unlike sports, you don't really have to explain. If you've never seen a fighting game before and you wanted to bet on someone because you like the look of their costume, you don't need loads of stats to know the outcome or who's winning. You can look at the life bars. It's like a dog race. My dog's in front, I'm winning. My life bar's more than his, my character's winning. It's the easiest thing to bet on, even though betting, some people morally don't like it, whatever. But take away the betting part, to casual people or to people that don't even play games, it's visually probably the easiest point to get across. And we still can't get people to care, which is crazy.
Maybe, again, part of it probably has to do with just the solo dynamic, because look at it. What are the most popular esports games? Think about them. What do they all share? What do they all have in common?
I would say teams and sponsors.
Yeah, well, mainly teams, right? Because before the sponsors came, it was the team aspect of it.
True.
But yeah. So, in my opinion, one of the great gatekeepers to being mainstream is the fact that it's just you solo, right? Of course, fighting game people very stubborn. They're like, oh, I don't want a teammate. I don't want to rely on somebody. But I feel like that is one of, if not the biggest factor holding the scene back. If Street Fighter X Tekken came out with its first patch as the original game, I think we would be in a different timeline. The game was so good after the first patch, but it was just way too late. Like, look at Multiverses, right? The game could be amazing in a year from now, but no one's gonna give a shit because it's too late. The game is probably gonna shut down in 3 to 4 years because nobody's playing it. That game drop off needs to be studied by people at Harvard to see what happened.
I hate this so much because those two on other podcasts, they're the two games that are always mentioned that have done it right, but they just did it right at the wrong time. They're probably my two favorite games.
I think Multiverses could have been the game changer, but everything that could have gone wrong or that they could have fucked up, they did. In my opinion, terrible servers.
Oh yeah, the servers.
Terrible balance. Right, all the glitches. Console players couldn't load in half the time.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. That's an issue then. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't peer to peer. It was to servers, and so if you're playing, if you're a West Coast and you're in a tournament playing somebody on the East Coast, if it connected to the East Coast server, you would have red bar connection, and you'd be teleporting and lagging. The game would freeze on you, and then they would just be beating the shit out of you and take your stock, and then just win the game. Which the netcode is still an issue. So yeah, terrible netcode, biggest thing for people, right? Doesn't matter what game you play. If it's bad netcode, you're not gonna have a good time. You're not gonna have a good time. You're not gonna want to play. It's like clockwork.
See, I think they did more things right in terms of wrong, other than the things you've mentioned, obviously. And I think the whole beta period thing is running really dry. It's like, look, man, like you had a tournament at Evo, just drop the beta title and say it's DLC from now on. This is your halting your progress by having a beta that lasts like almost a year, probably more than a year now. Like, just drop the beta part. Call it something else. Call it the Delta or something. Like
they have it as beta to justify their errors, though.
I think that's the thing.
Yeah. Like I do firmly believe the free to play model can work. They just did a terrible job at showcasing it, right? There's no content at all whatsoever. You get some costumes, and then that's it. Like, what else is there? Yeah, I can't make a room, right? I don't have a personal world hub or room to customize. I can't go in a lobby to hang out with people. I do believe lobbies can work if they're done correctly, but I don't think any game has done a good lobby system. Grand Blues is okay. I think Grand Blue Rising is gonna be way better because they're adding Grand Blue Fall Guys, right?
Oh yeah, you that's pretty sick.
You could be in the hub, and then you'll be like, "Oh, let's go play Fall Guys," and people will be like, "Great, let's go!" You roll up with your squad. So it could be done right, but again, there was no content outside of playing the game, right? 2v2, 1v1, and the battle pass for some costumes. What is there for the casual player? They don't have a story mode. They don't have fun mini games to play. No. Nothing like that. No, they can't make their own cool costumes, color schemes to show off and showcase. They don't have avatars that they could be like, oh, hey, look at what I unlocked the other day. I did this event. Nothing. There's nothing there for the longevity. They thought short run, not long run.
I mean, I think we both look at it from different perspectives. Even though I'm not competing, I only looked at the competitive side, right? So all the points you talk about are for casuals to get in. All the points that I think are pros are for hard, like sweaty players. Like DLC is free. So in some games, it's like, damn, I haven't got money to buy this character, so I can't lab against them. That's not a problem in multiverses. The perk system, I feel, as well as gems, if they've done it right, is the only way to have a game that's balanced, that's unique.
Yeah, I agree.
Otherwise, you get the balance where it's boring because everyone plays the same, or you get something that's broken, right? I think that the perk system is the only way to kind of find that middle ground. The 2v2 aspect, I think, is the only thing, like you said, holding fighting games back, because cheering for a team is way easier than cheering for a person. People people can get behind a team, even if it's 2 players. It's more than 1. So, and the IP has to be the biggest one so far. I think the IP can't be beaten. Dragon Ball can't beat it. You can literally have LeBron James versus Superman.
Yeah,
you can't beat that. I don't think you can.
No, not at all. But again, like I thought there's no way they could fail. But again, I think they did everything wrong. And then I mean, yeah, but like remember, what keeps the game alive? It's not the pro players.
Yeah,
it's not the confident players. It's the casuals. And the casuals got together and were like, we don't like this. This isn't fun. You know, the game doesn't work half the time. It's laggy. There's nothing for me to do. What are you gonna do when you're? Apparently, I guess that wasn't their target audience. I don't know.
It's confusing, right? I feel that would have been, especially with the IP, you would want to pull in people outside of fighting games, and like you said, everything that appealed to casual players wasn't there. It just wasn't there. So it's crazy to see how much, like you said, it was content creators that maybe not on purpose but killed the game, because they were like the hands-on, even though it's free to play, they were the people that casual players looked at to be like, should I even download this? And if you've got content creators saying, yeah, this game is unplayable, they've got this bug and glitch, the crossplay doesn't work, they're gonna look at what the content creator is saying and go, you know what, I won't take up space on my console or my PC. So
definitely,
you and your content friends have all the power. You can save the FGC, Cloud. You can do it.
It's up to us. We're the final frontier.
Up to yous, not us. I'm not one of them. I don't care about it, to be fair. I want Cross Tekken to come back. I want a patch for MCI. I want things that are never going to happen. I'm in a timeline where everything I liked isn't going to come back. I like zoning. No one likes. I know spectators hate zoning, so I'm not for the people.
Yeah, definitely. They think it's boring.
I'm not here for the people, but you can save us. You can take us into the golden age. It will be a run back, because the whole esports thing happened years ago with Spooky and Arturo, and everyone's like, nah, we're gonna stay in these grassroots locals.
Our little bubble.
Yeah, and I was just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Capcom were definitely trying to take us out with like cross assault and stuff.
Yeah,
they tried their hardest. Again, I think it was right idea at the wrong time, but now I think it'd be a little bit better to do something like that. And they had really cool like personalities back then.
Yeah, most definitely.
But doing it in an era without Excellent Adventures, I feel is just undoable now. They've got to try so hard, because that was such a big like cultural shift, because people knew about Excellent Adventures outside of fighting game players.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, look at them. Eventually, Gutex, the man's gone off the deep end now, right? But dude was a global Twitch emote, the most powerful Twitch emote. Probably would still have been the most powerful Twitch emote, but
crazy. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. We're talking about transcending, like he was universal, 100%. That was crazy. But yeah, man, I think that kind of covers the whole transition from competitor to content. We've gone from your origin story to you control the flow and where the FTC will go. If you give games bad reviews, no one's gonna fucking play it, and they're gonna stay here.
Hey man, if the game's bad, that's not my fault. All right. It's not. If you want, listen, dev teams, if you want your games to be good, please have pro players test it, right? Have content creators test it. Don't just put some shit out and be like, yeah, people are gonna eat it up. No, you need valuable critique. Your dev team is not good enough. They probably aren't very good at the game to begin with. The only competent dev team I can think of are the Project L guys. That dev team is stacked.
Pretty broken. It's a pretty broken team.
It's stacked. Like, I can't think of another dev team that is was as stacked as these guys. You got evil finalists, probably evil champs on there, people making top 8s, right? People who know how to break video games, fighting games. So yeah, if your dev team isn't capable, please outsource people. If the fighting game world is, it's either eat or be eaten.
Well, if any devs do watch this,
Yeah,
you got real good advice from Cloud. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else you want to say. I'm not gonna lie, pretty annoyed that we didn't have anything to argue about. I might have to ask you to do this again.
you picked a topic where we both mutually agree upon because we see the big picture. We're not single-minded fucking organisms, dude. We understand the reality of the situation.
I guess I need to think of a better topic next time. One that I know that we'll clash on, but yeah, this one I thought, you know, he might say something wild, but no, today you've only spit facts. I guess it's cool for everyone else, but for me, I was ready. I had my hands rubbed like this the whole time off camera. I was like, go and say something stupid, and he didn't say anything stupid, so I have to wait. I'll have to wait. Damn it. But yeah, any last words of wisdom? You dropped quite a few today. Any last comments, and then obviously where everyone can find you.
First and foremost, everybody, please hit that like and sub button for the boy C4. Right? I'm sure you're gonna put your Twitter and Twitch in the description as well, right?
Maybe. I'm gonna put Tyrant_UK. You know, the classic.
No, and there you go, dude. Your alter ego.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh yeah. So I'm Cloud805. You can find me on twitch.tv/Cloud_805. YouTube, same thing, Cloud805. Twitter, same thing, right? You can find me in all these different avenues. TikTok, same thing. And yeah, man, just remember, it's you versus the world in fighting games. No one's gonna hold your hand. And yeah, get good. Remember, everybody else sucks.
So mad. We literally had a conversation where I was saying get good and y'all got roasted. I'm gonna get you and Keezy to rerun that episode where me saying get good, I was getting roasted by chat. Absolutely fucking cooked.
It's an arbitrary, brother. Man, I understand the whole, skill issue and execution barriers, but like, come on, man, different wake up timings. That's crazy. Different wake up timings would be okay if you like Dragon Ball's different wake up timings. There's like 6, 7, 8 different wake up timings, but all the characters share that. It's not like every character has their own wake up timings. I
think XR delayed variable wake up timings per character is a good thing. I guess I've got a topic for next time. For next time, we're literally going to spend an hour talking about delay wake up timings. I actually think we could do it.
Easy. Free.
Yeah, no 2v1s. Even though you need it, but no 2v1s that time. I'll make sure KZK.
I'm a team. I play team games for a reason, dude.
Okay, I'll find a. You know what? I'll find a partner. We'll 2v2. 2v2.
Okay.
I know I'm on the rare side. I can find one person I know for sure that will agree with me. So I'll bring them in. 2v2 debate sometime in the future. I don't know when, but yeah, I think this was pretty informative. I actually had a different perspective from the competitive side. I did compete back in XR, but not obviously at your level. I haven't got a fucking trophy cabinet, so obviously I didn't compete that much. So yeah, it was cool to talk to you, man. I'm sure you will see me in chat, chatting nonsense to your streamers. And yeah, that will be it. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
All right, later.